Greetings, welcome back to Switch to Linux. Today we're talking about Google and their crazy tracking cookies. I'm going to remember to unmute the panel today. Haha, I forgot to do that last time. So greetings, guys. How's everybody doing?
I'm fine.
Okay, I think we have audio. Sweet. All right, we got World of Linux is over here trying to get his audio up and running. So will we get there? I am monitoring on the live chat text message on the Discord, so everybody should be able to get into there. Let's see, how's it going, Tech?
Doing good, man. I went to my first Red Hat security symposium yesterday, which was a lot of fun, and I got some Red Hat swag on the way. I might have it, might be wearing it next week.
Yes, very cool, awesome. Yeah, Vince can't make it in today. He just popped in and leave some comments. No, he's not on fire. He's out taking vacation with family and stuff. So enjoy your day out, Vince. Enjoy the family and stuff. So we'll catch you next time.
He's having a kangaroo barbecue.
Yeah. Invite us all to the kangaroo barbecue if you could. That'd be awesome. How's kangaroo go with barbecue sauce, or do you do something else? How do you season that stuff? Let us know.
Vegemite.
This is true. Vegemite.
Too easy.
I thought though that Vegemite was used just to get the veggies and stuff.
Vegemite you put on like bread. It's like their peanut butter.
Yeah, you put a very thin layer on it to where the taste will overwhelm you.
Excuse me. Okay.
I've been to Australia before, so it's just like they put it on everything, and the kangaroo meat is very lean. Like it doesn't have much fat in it. It's good. I like it.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I mean, you do get lean when you're boing, 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 boing all around. So
yeah.
Just watch out for those kangaroos with shotguns in case you didn't.
Yeah, there was an episode on the Beverly Hillbillies where one got loose around their mansion and Granny thought it was a giant jackrabbit.
Hey, somewhere around here I do have a jackalope hunting license. I got to find it. But yeah, that'd be fun. All right, we got Michael's on. Greetings, Derek Graham. Hello, Derek. Let's see. Good evening, Bruce Scott. I hope that Moonbase Alpha is doing all right. Franklin Cruz, how's it going there? Omega, how's it going there? Third-party tracking cookies. Google and YouTube will, of course, use first-party tracking. Of course they will. Why wouldn't they? Let's see. Hello, John. Hello, Eula Olson. And hello, Amanda. We got, let's see, Hank is on. You know, the channel is going well when the kitty can afford to go on vacation this often. I know, I'm telling you. Vince is jumping in, saying hi. We're off to Shell Museum today. Seashells, not Bash. See, you got to go out to the Shell Museum, the Linux Shell Museum. That would be quite epic. Let's see, Neba's on. Greetings. Alex, hello there. Well, at least Edge is doing something with tracking protection and ad block plus by default. Yeah. I believe yesterday, I think the new version of Edge rolled out, the Chromium-based version of Edge. So, let's see. Lots of kangaroos and koalas have been barbecued. So sad. But no Vegemite goes with butter and cheese. Really? Why would you pollute butter and cheese with Vegemite? I don't know.
Yeah. I've had it on bread before, and that was all right. It's not terrible. I know a lot of people don't like it.
I have some around here. Every now and then, if you want a pick-me-up and you don't want to drink coffee, that stuff's great. It's loaded full of vitamin B.
Well, that'd give you the energy back. That's the thing. That's what, the thing that gives you energy in an energy drink is actually the fact that they usually have like hundreds of thousands of % of vitamin B12. Which is the compound that you actually need to reconvert AMP back to ATP. So the massive dose of an energy drink actually gives you energy for that reason. It's not as much the sugar buzz. Is that the final build of Edge? So I believe it's actually being released now. So I think it's actually final build, is my thought. All right, Vegemite and cheese. I'm gonna have to try this. Gonna try Vegemite? I don't think I want to try Vegemite.
It's not terrible. You have to put a tiny bit on it.
Yeah, don't do overkill. Eat a spoonful of it like I did for the first time.
I always thought Vegemite was more like Australian Nutella, because people like eat it straight out of the jar. Like
no.
It's working. Whoa!
Hey, we have audio. Holy moly!
Yeah,
Greetings there, Worm.
I switched computers.
All right. So what are you
tell.
running now? What was the issue, you think?
So apparently I'm just using the Mac. So, well, old iMac. So probably that was the issue.
Mm.
So because
Could
of
be
it,
it.
now I'm just using my laptop instead.
Hey, there you go.
Of it. Yeah. Okay. At least now it's working.
Hey, it works. Why not? That's
Yep,
cool.
all right.
That's good. Awesome, man. Very cool. Very cool. So Alex does confirm it is the stable build. So World of Linux, have you had Vegemite before?
Me?
Yes.
Actually, yes.
You have. Am I the only one
Yeah.
here who has not tried Vegemite?
Yeah,
No,
actually
I've
did.
never touched it.
Oh, you've never tried. Yeah,
I
yeah.
refuse.
High five.
I refuse.
High
There you
five,
go.
man.
It
Yeah.
tastes pretty similar to Marinite.
Yeah. Actually, we
That
got.
sounds
Okay,
equally terrible.
If I go this way and you go the other way and you say something, boom! Oh no, other way.
Oh.
Well, other way. No, other way.
Oh.
Boom! There you go. All right, we got it. All right, so yeah, are we ready to dive on into the topic here?
Let's put
Yeah.
some Vegemite on the cookies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that would
yeah.
not be good.
Of course,
No.
their article that we borrowed, first we're going to an Ars Technica article, and the Ars Technical article, they are actually giving us chocolate chip cookies in the photos. So that's good. All right. So the idea here is that Google plans to drop Chrome support for tracking cookies by 2022. And you look at this on the surface and go, wow, awesome. Wait, what? So Google wants to stop doing the tracking cookie thing, and this means that they have something nefarious. Do you think they're going to stop tracking you? All right, who here thinks Google's going to stop tracking us?
I think they have something even worse under their breath cooking.
Now, we have to understand, one of the things in tracking cookies you have to remember is, do you guys remember zombie cookies?
Adobe Flash Player?
Yes. So, and this is why,
like that.
despite Flash pretty much dying, why it's still hanging on is because if you can embed your cookies through Flash, they can survive clearing cookies, they can cross over to other browsers, and they can continue to track you. The reason businesses start to do this is because a cookie can have a very small amount of data, but a Flash cookie can have like 100 times more. And so they would start to use the Flash cookies. And then, of course, now Flash is pretty much on its way out. In fact, they believe the end of this year, I think it should be completely dead and depreciated and gone. And so when that happens, now companies lose this. Now, I personally like the tracking cookies because it places all of the responsibility onto the user. This is the only thing about the GDPR that I think is stupid, that it's like, you got to do all of these annoying pop-ups for cookies. No, why don't you just train people? Cookies cause people to be tracked. And if you are not wanting to be tracked, it's a very simple principle. You clear your cookies on a regular basis. No problem. Now, though, Google's talking about getting rid of tracking cookies. Why? Well, when you get rid of tracking cookies, you're going to disadvantage their competitors, and you're going to advantage yourself because they have other ways of doing things. What say you guys? Dan, go ahead. What do you think?
Tracking cookies? Well, I don't know about putting the responsibility of those onto the user because there's a lot of elderly people and stuff like that that are not that computer savvy. They barely know what a cookie is, let alone a third-party cookie. I mean, there was a point where I didn't even know what a third-party cookie was until I had it explained to me.
I agree, but I still hold on to my point. It's something the user can control. You get rid of tracking cookies and use some other method, the user may not be able to control that.
The user may not know they can do that.
Correct. But at least the information is out there for those to look. But that's my thought. I don't know, Quint, what do you think?
I honestly think that that what Google's trying to do with this whole cookie block thing is that they're going to try to encourage more websites to use first-party tracking cookies. And so that's how that's what they're doing here is that people think they're doing a privacy move to block cookies, which I do agree with you that cookie messages are quite annoying, that it is the responsibility of the user to do it. And I think, yeah, which I agree with you on that, but I just feel like that not a lot of people are going to know how to do that. And what Google's going to try to do is make it harder for people to block those cookies.
Yeah, and that's to Dan's fair point. Absolutely, we need more education about this. People need to know that it exists and what it is and
It
why
took
it
the
is.
internet community to inform me that there was dangerous third-party cookies out there. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known nothing the wiser.
Yeah. But here's the problem. We get rid of the dangerous third-party cookies to have their own embedded thing into the browser that you can't do anything about it. I'd rather have something that I'm ignorant of that I can't control than something I absolutely cannot control at all, is my
You do
argument.
not hear on the evening news, third-party cookie burns down man's house.
This is true. This is true. But we do hear, Google's new spy technique is completely unblockable by all people.
Oh, we're getting rid of the cookies, but we're getting donuts instead.
Oh, okay. We're getting donuts. All right. Tech, what do you think?
I had actually written down a few ideas about this when I originally read this, and I was more interested in the flock README file.
Yeah, we'll get to that one soon. So.
Okay, sure. My first fear was that this will be used to more like group people together, and it makes you as an individual easier to pick out of a crowd, say of like 2,000 as opposed to 100,000. And if they can more easily track you with ads, and they can more easily track you in general, especially as technology advances. Actually, Apple turned off cookie blocking by default in Safari because their users are being more easily fingerprinted and targeted because of that. So they turned it on and then did some research, found out it was a bad idea, flipped it back. So I'm with you. I think it's better that 10% of the population be aware that cookies are controllable and control those cookies than 100% of the population not be able to do anything about it, whether they know or otherwise.
Yeah.
Or people can just be sending. Or the vendors could just distribute the browsers with the cookie option turned off by default.
But this would circumvent cookies entirely because it doesn't deal with cookies. I mean, it's
the third-party ones.
I mean, even then, but if you get rid of cookies completely and only rely on this mechanism for tracking people, cookies are not part of the conversation at that point. And they're you and I and everybody else no longer has control. And I think I have the right to decide whether or not I should be tracked.
Correct. Let's jump in, let World jump in here, and then we'll come back and continue this discussion.
So, the first thing that I do for all my setups, I use Firefox. And every time that I set up Firefox, I always put that every time I close Firefox, it deletes all the cookies, which that's the control that we all need. So at least I do agree that cookies are controllable, but there's a lot of people who don't know anything about cookies at all. Like way back then when I was young and stuff, I was using Adobe Flash Player and playing a lot of Flash games. I didn't even know what cookies were, and I just clicked accept on everything, and I wasn't aware of it until I was aware, and I started to block those cookies. So I'm sure that Google's going to find another way to, instead of cookies, just put something else to spy on you even more, because there's already scripts on millions of websites that Google puts on. So
and it's not just cookies. I mean, because there's a lot of other things you can do that are not cookies, and that's, I think, what the danger is. So sure, we're going to deflect some information and say we're going to drop support for track cookies. Now understand too, we didn't do a good enough job clarifying what we're talking about at the very beginning. This is third-party cookies. This is not first-party. So you log into the site, you get a cookie and indicate you've logged in, or you are logged in, security token, you're logged in. That's okay. First-party login. This is why I don't clear all the cookies when I close it, because I don't want to have to go through and, start fresh every single time. But I do always set my browsers to block third-party cookies. So this is, I load up my website, and then it's going to pull in a cookie and things from Google to do analytics, tracking, AdSense, ad servers, things like this. That is what blocking your third parties is going to do. Now, that's what Google wants to do, is block the ability to have a third-party tracking cookie. The question then is, what's it going to now? So let's go ahead and continue that debate that we had going on, and then till we beat that to the
Also,
ground.
can I add one more
Yeah,
thing?
go ahead. Yep.
World of Linux, you also realize that they taught us in school to click accept on everything.
That's right.
Yes, definitely.
All right, I'm done.
So in school, we had to have a Microsoft account. Also, I had to click accept on nearly everything because that was the only way that I could even use some of the services like Word and stuff, which I really hated, and I had to make a Microsoft account. So instead, what I did is that I created a new Microsoft account instead of associating everything under one Microsoft account, just to make sure that everything's separated as much as possible.
Yeah, I have to have a school Google account. And actually, what I did for Microsoft Office, I won't get too off topic, but I found a copy of like the program, like the volume licensing program. And when you enable this, when you like install this program on top of Office, on the sign in thing for Office, there's a little button that says skip. And so that's how I was able to get around it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would just like to say, as an IT professional, I also click accept on everything without reading it.
Yeah, I actually don't. I read stuff and decide, is it worth it? Oh, sometimes it's a painful yes, but
Yeah.
so yeah, so their idea here is we want to go with. So let's go back though before we dive into this. Maybe we need to have more education in schools. Maybe those cookie banners have to say, hey, you can manage your cookies here. Maybe we do more to educate people that cookies can actually be controlled by the end user, because that's why I don't mind them, because, hey, I block it all. I block all the ad scripts. I block all the third-party cookies. I turn off the cookies. And for me, I'm not as easily tracked as you are if you allow those. But to Dan's point, absolutely, you have to know that you can do that. And browsers, by default, accept everything. And I think that's a problem. Maybe we have more browsers that don't accept everything by default. But the idea here is we're going to block all this altogether. But now what are they going to do? So let's see if we can dig through this a little bit. Making third-party cookies obsolete after initial dialogue with the web community. And this is something I think Vince said this. Vince had a good comment he had in the supporter stream here. He says, the initial response to the headlines of the cookie articles is great news, but then I realized what they were really saying, that there is now ways of fingerprinting through your browser that is independent of cookies, making them redundant and expendable. It seems disingenuous to call it a privacy sandbox. I'm also deeply concerned what they said about the positive feedback from the W3C consortium, which raises more questions about who controls W3C. I also get that companies have a right to try to make money, but there are better ways. So, to that end, I do not at all mind contextual ads. If I'm looking up websites and reviews for headphones, show me an ad for your headphones. I don't care. Clearly, I'm interested in headphones. But if I'm walking around and looking at, headphones, stop showing me ads for AMSOIL because I visited your website once. That's actually the thing that taught me to do this. I will never buy AMSOIL, or is it AMSO, whatever it's called, because I was doing a website for a client who was an AMSOIL distributor. So they gave me their login, so I had to go to their site and grab whatever script it was at the time and put it on their site. And for the next month, all I'm seeing is AMSOIL ads everywhere. That is the thing that taught me what Google is doing. That is when I stopped using Google, because it's like, my Lord, stop annoying me, AMSOIL. You're tracking me. You're following me. What are you, a stalker? So, and that's the thing. I do not at all mind contextual ads. I very deeply mind and resent targeted ads. Third-party cookies targeting ads, means I can control those targeted ads. If you get rid of that and now want to target me, I have no recourse. That's my thought. And that's where they're trying to go to. Any other thoughts on that?
So the thing is that especially with people going with Google Home and Amazon Alexa and things like that.
Hey, Alexa, order
I-
unicorn meat. Confirm. Go ahead.
I honestly think that with those cookies is that most people that, for example, use Google Chrome log in and they have all their Google account and then they have their Google Home and then they have everything synchronized. So when Google has their cookies and tracking inside websites, they know exactly where you're going, and then they're able to put all that together and give you targeted ads, which is not good because everything's synchronized. So the first thing you should do is don't associate all your devices in one. That's bad.
Yep.
Bad practice.
Absolutely. That's why I isolate everything into different purposes and things. Half my computers don't even have the ability to check email. Isn't that cool?
It's exactly how it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have a laptop and 2 other computers that can check email, and that's it. Yeah. So let's go ahead and have a look at this flock. So this is the one that is a little bit harder to understand. So basically, this is one of the potential alternatives. So the idea here is it's called Federated Learning of Cohorts. So you're basically grouping people into groups and chunks based on what the group, the cohort as itself, does online, and then you're targeting cohorts instead of people. Now, Tech, you had some information about this and some notes, so I'll give the floor to you for a second here.
I think that for me, in reading through this, the thing that kind of sticks out, or at least I heard this a couple weeks back, so I associated it with this idea when I read this piece here on GitHub, is that it's one of those things where it's starting to sound like they can fingerprint you and more track you based on the browser extensions you have. So even if you have browser extensions inside of like privacy, your privacy mode or incognito or whatever you want to use, that can still be used to identify you or narrow you down again into this smaller group as opposed to out of a larger group. So I think that's what gets it. And I mean, when you it has a privacy and security considerations where it talks about revealing people's interests on the web and tracking people via their flock. And this is, I don't want to derail us into politics, so I'm not going to carry it beyond this, but this sounds kind of like the intersectional movement where you start to group people by a category instead of as people. And I'm not in favor of that as a broad idea.
Yeah. Interesting. I keep on going back to this imagery. Not too far from where I'm at, there is a flock of birds, and one of them is white, and the rest of them are black. It's the oddest thing. But I've seen the same flock multiple times now in the same exact area. So like they swarm in that area, and every time they're swarming, there's one white bird up there. I can spot it. And I think back, that's what the tech companies are doing. They're spotting us. They can see us amongst the birds. Be careful.
Right. You might be looking at everybody with Firefox, which if it's myself and World of Tech and I don't know how many of us use Firefox. I hope we all do. But if I'm the one guy who decides to use WaterFox, then they're like, oh, that's tech right there.
Me.
I'm on WaterFox now. I'm on WaterFox.
Okay, good, great. All right, well, it's not just me then.
Good. So we got 3 of us then? Sweet. So, yeah, that's definitely a thing. I had something else I want to mention too, but I can't remember it. So anybody else have anything else to add to this part here?
I actually use an extension called User Agent Switcher. So from time to time, what it does is that it changes the browser string. So for example, they're able to identify which operating system you're using, right? So right now, probably Google knows that I'm using Mac OS right now. Yeah. But with User Agent Switcher, I'm able to change the string to something completely different. I could even tell that this computer is Windows 95. I can actually change that.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I did remember what I was going to say.
Very easy to identify with Windows 95. Just saying.
Yeah, So this is one of the major advantages of using Tails, and why I look at some of the other alleged competitors to Tails, and they're missing many of the marks. So a lot of them, like, there's a lot of these groups that come up and like, oh well, we have a browser, a Tor based web, distro as well, but Tails is a whole lot more than just a Tor OS. One of the key things that Tails does is it fingerprints itself exactly the same and spoofs itself exactly the same, so that the more people use Tails, the more anonymous Tails is, because everybody using Tails looks exactly like the same person on the web. That's one of the things that they do, is they screw with all the fingerprinting so that you can't be fingerprinted. They can't figure out how to put you in a cohort. And so that's one of the reasons that still Tails is still the best of the Tor-based browsers as well. So
I have no interest in becoming a flock groupie.
Well, why not, man? I mean, we all are statistics. The question is which one.
Yeah, we're a bunch of flockies.
It sounds like flunkies. We're all a bunch of flunkies over here. Yeah. Let me check in on the comments. It's been too long since I looked at our comments here. So we got, let's see, never seen it in person. Americans have a severe reaction to Vegemite. We might. I don't know.
I don't know. I eat it. Doesn't hurt me.
All right. Who are all these people? All right, these are the various supporters. These are the ones that do the financial support of Switch2Linux and my other channels as well. We have Dan, is hiding right now behind his logo. We have Quint over here. We have Tech Caberdashi, and we have World of Linux. Of course, there's myself. But, So, that's who everybody is here. Oh, now Quint's hiding. Jeez, everyone's hiding. All right.
What it's worth, you still got me. It's not much.
That's right. That's right. All right.
They still got me too.
Okay.
My upload just dropped out, so you don't have a picture.
All right, that's fine. All right. Could show Evercookie, but it's uses a lot of different techniques. Okay. Google stop track you? Yeah, no, maybe not. Good site to test your browser fingerprint is it Panopticlick? I've never heard of that. Let's look that word up. Where's my water fox? Doing my water fox. That's right. That's from EFF is what that happens is. Okay, this says test me. Wait. It says test me, and there's an option test me with a real tracking company. Okay, testing your browser. How well does it protect you from tracking? This one probably not well, to be perfectly honest. Let's see what it says, though. Because this is my WaterFox, and it's running like nothing. Like there's no extensions. All right. Is your browser blocking tracking ads? The answer is yes, despite not having any ad extensions on this. I have no browser extensions because my network is blocking the tracking. Let me show you guys the results I got here. All right. So it is blocking tracking ads despite not running any extensions. Is your browser blocking invisible trackers? Yes, because my network is doing that. Does your browser block third parties that promise to honor do not track? No, because that setting is not turned on, which if I can just come on over here, I probably don't have this one set right. That's right. The reason I have this one set to remember history is some news sites will not work with that. So that's why I have that. And then you just clear it out once a week and it'll do that. So I can actually change this over. So that's why it's not doing that. And then does your browser protect from fingerprinting? No, it has a unique fingerprint. All right, that's fine. So yeah, that's a service you could go check out. Let me go ahead and drop that there in the chat. That's a cool site. Not seen that before. Thank you for that, Musical Neptune. Let's see. Agree with you. You can control it. All right, everyone's back. Look at that. It goes in hand in hand with their manifest v3 to block ad blocking extensions. Yeah. It's like DARPA. They're thinking 10 years in advance. Oh, dear. Well, that's because Google is DARPA, of course. You didn't know that?
I've been here the whole time. I was trying to find a micro SD to SD card adapter.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Let's see. You could not use an ad blocker. I would have to stop using the internet to surf the web. Last time I turned my ad blocker off, I got 2 ads for a prostate exam with explicit male anatomy photos. Ew!
Oh God.
Please do not share that link.
Yes, we do not want to
No.
see it. Let's see. I use cookie auto delete. You can refuse all cookies, just tracking cookies, whitelist, blacklist cookies. Yeah, so you can do a lot to control them as well. Board, Google this. One click live fix common Windows 10 file and fingerprinting share button part 2. Thanks. Okay. I'm glad I taught you how to read your privacy policies in terms of service. That's good. I mean, we do not want to give away our firstborn child unless, of course, we mean to. So, you know.
Or a kidney.
Yeah, kidneys too. There was a store in UK though that for April Fool's Day, it did actually have in the privacy policy that anybody who bought something, agreed to the terms of service, agreed to give them access and full ownership of their forever immortal soul. They said they had 15,000 orders that day too. So they own 15,000 people's eternal souls because of the terms of service. Be careful. Be careful.
Ouch.
I know a demon you can talk to.
Yeah, you know.
Might be interested.
Yeah. So it seems to be very simple to just click I agree. Like there's barely anything to stop you. I guess sometimes you might have to scroll down to click agree, but it's really easy. Well, if you actually see a physical contract, you have to sign it. It's different, and most people usually take a look at that. Well, just clicking a button, it's like any other button from the web.
Yeah,
which,
and that's why I think our education system has hurt us the most. Why we are so susceptible to phishing scams. Like, I want to do a video with the number of ways that they are trying to get us YouTubers to fall into their phishing scam, because it's actually impressive. I have here a change to the terms of service 2020 from YouTube. Click here for more details. That's going to http://u9090633.ct.sendgrid.net. Yeah, very clearly YouTube. We got a security alert. We've detected you've logged into your YouTube channel from too many different devices for security reasons. Your account has been disabled by Google on new devices. Please activate your account by clicking the link below. Ooh, that's fun. We got, let's see, invalid click activity from Google AdSense. I mean, this is just in the last week, guys. Warning, we've received a complaint. Your channel has lots of spam videos. That one might be true. Invalid click activity. Like, I want to do a video on all these. It would be hilarious to show the number of ways they're trying to fish into YouTube accounts right now. Because those ones there. I stopped. I have a bunch more. Those were all I've gotten in the last 3 days. So.
Yeah. So I actually use my own email server for everything.
I do too.
Yeah, it's just better because instead of targeting Google and stuff, well, I have a own web server, so...
What software do you use?
Well, it's actually with cPanel and everything, so I actually buy a web hosting service, and then they already have cPanel and everything set up, so you just have to...
Oh, you're not
click on
alone.
it.
That's what I do.
That's way to go, in my opinion. Because the thing is, if it goes all crazy and stuff, you can just take a backup of your cPanel and leave.
I wanted to do that, but I can't afford cPanel hosting, so I use I use a program called MailCow that's open source.
That's right. Is there an alternative to Firefox that isn't so resource heavy? Not really that I know of.
Google Chrome is pretty resource heavy, though.
Yeah.
It's on RAM.
I mean, if you want to go with a web browser that's not resource heavy, you're looking at the terminal web browsers.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Firefox uses more memory than GNOME before all the improvements
Yeah.
that they did on system memory.
Oh, we are all
Yeah.
deep fakes. Did you guys know that? We're all deep fakes. Shh, you're not supposed to tell. Let's see. Why is there no
Shouldn't-
WaterFox for Android? Because
I was
WaterFox is put together by one guy.
Yeah, I was actually just about to reply to Shun in or Shun
Yeah.
maybe.
Now, if
in
you
chat.
want,
Yeah.
in my
yeah,
opinion,
that's
though,
actually me.
oh, is that you? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, Sean.
Sean.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. So,
I was gonna
yeah.
say there's Finnick on F-Droid if you want that.
That's what I
Well,
use. I love
I-
that browser.
Yeah.
I like Firefox Clar. I think Finnick is much the same. Is that correct? So, what I like about Clar is it does not even have the Java libraries required to access a microphone, a camera, or several of the other APIs that other browsers can. And so it's not going to detect your location for you, and that's why I like to use it. It doesn't have the capability.
Finnick is basically the Firefox for Android. It's basically like the WaterFox version where it strips out some like tracking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you use WaterFox, that would probably be the best one to use on your phone, other than like Firefox Clar.
Oh, I have a Fedora versus Arch request. Where's my Distro Wars request paper?
Oh jeez.
Hey, Kitty, don't type.
Two distros I've not had much luck with.
Everybody
Kitty,
says
stay
they
off my
haven't had
keyboard.
much luck with Fedora. Every time I've ran Fedora, it's been flawless, which I'm
Okay.
running it right now.
That would be all right. I do need to correct that. Fedora is not an issue, other than I just don't like the GNOME layout, that like the modern desktop that they've got too much. But the last time I used it, in fairness, was like 2 years ago, so that's
There's
not
other
really fair for
skins,
me to say.
too.
Yeah. It's not fair for me to say.
The thing about Fedora is more like a Red Hat workstation. It's not like Ubuntu, like it's meant to be used by everybody. You have to kind of finesse Fedora to make it feel like Ubuntu.
It's designed as more of a development distro.
Yeah, it's always on the bleeding edge of everything. I mean, they're saying that in their next release they're going to put Pipewire in it instead of Pulse Audio.
What is the name of the
I
cat?
never heard that.
This is CJ, the cat.
They're trying to,
We just reviewed that on Big Daddy Linux last Saturday night, and it came out that that's what they were going to do.
they're trying to phase
yeah.
out Xorg completely. They're trying to completely use Wayland for everything on Fedora.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to fly. There's too many limitations to it still, I think.
The Wayland wouldn't work for me when I tested it. I had to switch it to Xorg. My mouse and keyboard kept freezing up.
You can still switch to Xorg. It's in the the settings gear on the login page.
Yeah.
You can switch to it, which I do because OBS does not work with Wayland.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I use Devuan. So I'm using it in its system instead of system D. So at least one of my very powerful computers, because the whole point of using it is to use as less resources as possible, because I use Proton with Steam to play Windows games, and I need all the resources I can get to get the more performance as possible. And it works really well. And it's very efficient on RAM. It uses less than a gigabyte. Well, I have 16 gigabytes, so I can use all the resources I want, and it works really well. However, it's not perfect.
I'm not trying to get off topic here, but what's the whole problem with System D? Everybody says that it's bad.
It's not bad. I think it depends on what you want to do. I would use System D on servers, just because it's the industry standard and everybody's using it now for servers and stuff.
You need System D to install Snapd to use Snap packages.
See,
Which I
that's
don't
what's so
care
bad with
about.
System D. Now I have a reason why System D is bad.
Yes. That is the reason why System D is coming around again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I dropped a link in there to Firefox Clar, which is the one that I prefer.
You
What's
can
the other one?
actually.
So the
You
other
can
one was
actually. Sorry, go ahead.
Finnick. The other one was Finnick.
Yeah, Finnick. It's on F-Droid. Obviously.
Finnick F-Droid.
Yeah. Can you link that one? I'm
Yeah.
not seeing it.
You got it, Quint.
Then problem
I
with
got it,
Fire
yeah.
with F-Droid is you have to spell it just right.
So by the way, for servers, init wouldn't be that good because they have to do a lot of configuration. Well, with systemd, everything's usually automatic. So init is for very specific purposes. I wouldn't use it for everything. So if I would have another computer laying around, I would just use a systemd system like Debian or even Ubuntu-based distributions. So for that specific computer, it works really well for having init on it, especially because I'm using the Mac system environment. So it's not like GNOME or KDE. It's like very different and very minimal. So it just works better with an init system just because of how it is.
Yeah. Fedora, pretty good. I think Fedora's come a long enough way that I think it's pretty good. So it wasn't always. Fedora, probably about the time Quint was a little kid, Fedora really sucked. It was just too hard to get working. Like a friend of mine's kid was trying to run it. He was a Red Hat certified sysadmin for Raytheon, okay? And they couldn't get Fedora to work most of the time. I'm done with it. I told him, go to Mint. But in the last few versions, Fedora has been fabulously rock solid.
The one thing they won't do that they need to do is they need to put RPM Fusion, which is a alternative repository that lets you get extra packages. They need to put it in there by default, like under that enable third-party software sources. They haven't done that yet.
They don't for copyright reasons. I completely understand why they don't. So why do we use F-Droid? Well, my phone does not have any access or ability to access Google services. So
which is how mine is too.
Yeah, so I use F-Droid to get any of my apps because here's the thing. Everything on F-Droid is completely open source. It is compiled by F-Droid, and it is audited by 2 external security teams. One of those is Sean O'Brien, who's on this show from time to time, who is an MIT lecturer and works with a couple different privacy startup companies as well. He's an excellent guy, excellent security guy, and he's actually one of the companies that audits the F-Droid applications. So that's why if it's not on F-Droid, I tend to not run it. I have very, very few exceptions to that.
So on this phone, I'm actually using F-Droid. So it's actually the LGV30, and I don't have any Google account or any account associated with it.
Can you put Lineage on it, the custom ROM?
As someone sent me a link, but it's still an alpha, and I would still miss some features for it, and it's not as stable yet. So I still have a warranty on it, so when the warranty ends, I'll probably start to root it and get things going. Mm-hmm. I still have a few months until my contract ends.
So you probably can't even unlock it at all anyway.
Yeah.
I couldn't. My phone was off contract on Verizon. I couldn't even unlock it. I don't know what carrier you have.
Yeah. On Verizon, you have to have paid off your phone for at least 60 days. After 60 days, you can get it.
Yeah. I prefer buying phones unlocked anyways.
Yeah, I'm finding right now if you want a new phone, actually it turns out the best place to get them right now is Best Buy because they sell all of the phones at Best Buy are all unlocked. Because then you can buy your unlocked phone and then you go to whichever one of the carriers you want in the store and buy them. Or just head to their ginormous rack of just prepaid card services. Among those is Mint Mobile, which I have an affiliate link to Mint Mobile. I actually switched everything over to there, so I'll go ahead and drop that link in the chat here. But Mint Mobile is very nice.
Boy, you're all minty all the way around the block.
I know.
There's still a couple of areas that I
Location.
travel to
Yep.
that don't have good signal on any service other than Verizon, so I have to keep that.
Yeah. There's
Well-
always the prepaid Verizon, but I find the prepaid Verizon is still pretty expensive too. So.
Yeah. So I have Bell. Since I'm in Canada, I have
Mhm.
Bell.
Okay.
So there's only like 3 major telecommunications company: Telus, Rogers, and Bell, and then they all own the small companies that's associated with them. So at least over here, there's not a lot of choice.
It's
Yeah,
getting that way here.
Yeah, we still do have a lot of choice in the cellular. It's our ISPs, our landline ISPs are the things
Yeah.
that kills over here. I have zero option. I have to keep on paying the trumped up charges that they keep on sending to me. So, you know. But yeah, I tested Mint Mobile for a few months, and like I found like 1 or 2 places I go I didn't get signal, but I was willing to sacrifice those places because I actually went there serendipitously, and if I went 1 more mile, Verizon stops working too. So, you know, and then at that point in time, I'm just like, you know what? Because I'm going to save so much on Mint Mobile, and I got so sick of Verizon. I did get my final Verizon bill, and I owe them $0.00, and I'm like, that's glorious.
Yeah, I got that from AT&T for about 3 months straight. You owe $0.00.
Yeah.
What a waste of paper.
I do find it funny how you are in a pretty decently sized town, Tom, and you don't have much of a choice for internet service providers.
Nope. Our number 2 is Verizon, and last time I tried Verizon, I couldn't even watch an HD video on YouTube. And that was in the middle of the city. Middle of the city.
I can't do that at all. I still use DSL.
Mhm.
I'm on
I don't
DSL.
have-
That's what Verizon is, DSL. But you can get fast DSL, you know. It's just
Yeah, fast
not
enough,
anymore.
but yeah.
You're here, aren't you?
Bad, you guys, because I'm on Google Fiber.
Yeah, you and your
I don't
fiber.
have gigabit service. I have megabit service.
Yeah.
There's no hope for Quint. It doesn't matter what privacy protocols you try to take, Quint. It is too late for you.
The only thing that I will say is bad about Google Fiber before we move into something else is that they make it really hard for you to use your own router. You have to buy a router that lets you set a VLAN ID on the WAN interface.
Yeah, did you check if pfSense can do that?
I think it probably can, but I already sent the other one back, and they're going to send me a new one anyway.
Yeah.
So.
And so you're on the Google router for now, right?
Right now I'm on the Google router. Yes.
They are spying on everything.
I actually was curious to see what interfaces it had open, so I ran a port scan on it, and they do have they have a management interface. I can't remember what port it is. I think it's like 7543. Which they have open because you have to go to a website to change like Wi-Fi settings.
What's your IP address, Quentin? Yeah, and that's
Which I think is really annoying.
I don't want anything where I have to go to the internet to manage something in my house. That is the epitome of lack of security.
If you type in the IP address of the router, all you get is this like diagnostic page. Here,
Yeah, but if you type in the IP : the port, you could access whatever's open on that port.
Yeah, I know that, but there's nothing, but it just goes to an error screen. This is what you get when you go to the IP address to the router.
Yeah.
And you have this advanced section, which like, tells you stuff, but I'm not going to open that.
Yeah. So Jean says, what is Google doing if they're not tracking third-party cookies? They're not telling us, and that's the scary part. Do we use the bad system that we can control, or their unknown thing that they're not telling us about? Gabby says, Xfinity Mobile is pretty good. I would not touch Xfinity Mobile with a 95,000-foot pole. Not because I know anything about their service, just because I hate Comcast and I would never willingly use Comcast for anything.
Yeah, Comcast.
and since there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of mobile carriers, I will choose anything rather than go with Comcast, just out of principle.
I don't know if what you looked at. I looked at going over to them because I already have Xfinity here at my house because my only other option is god-awful AT&T, and it is royally atrocious. So I hate Comcast a hair less than I hate AT&T. So I was like, well, maybe I'll see what their Xfinity Mobile thing is about. And I literally could not use any phone unless it was a Verizon phone. Like they were like, well, you can trade in your current phone and we'll sell you a new one. I was like, or I could just stay with T-Mobile, which is what I ended up doing.
So if
American
they're
thugs
switching
compete.
over to using Verizon's network, what are they going to do when Verizon's whole network changes over? Because it is.
Got me.
Yeah. I don't know.
Don't
Like
know.
Xfinity, like Comcast lost their ever-loving mind. They used to have that place to go in where you could go in and pay your bill and whatever else. Now I went in to pay my bill because I like going in like, here's my check, pay a bill, here's the check, hand me a receipt, which is actually very important because one time when I paid my bill, they handed me the receipt, they typed in the numbers wrong, and I got a late charge and the account and all this kind of stuff. I take it back, I'm like, yeah, here's my receipt, this is when I paid it, like, fix it, which they did, no problem. So they just closed down that store, they opened up a new one. What are they modeling off of? Verizon store, the worst store you can possibly go into for modern tech. Like you go in there, where do you
Microsoft
go?
store?
So I go in and it's like, all right, okay, here's my name. Sure, it'll be like 20 minutes. For what? To pay a bill. So I wait 20 minutes, and I got the three stooges, Larry, Curly, and Moe, first couldn't figure out how to get logged into the computer to pay their bills. And then once they did finally get logged in, had no idea how to process a check. So like, well, let's just use this automated check processing system. No! I'm writing you a check. I want you to process it. I'm not using your automated machine. So I took the check back and mailed it in.
Whatever happened to taking the check to the bank and depositing it?
Exactly.
They closed my Comcast store too. I don't know where it went. It was next to the Kroger's in the shopping center.
Yeah,
It's
there's
now
probably
empty.
a new one that's infinitely worse. The
new Comcast stores, like there's one near my house. They're trying to sell like all their Xfinity security system and all that.
Yeah, it looks exactly like a Verizon store when you walk in there.
I don't know. My Verizon store is very minuscule.
I have nothing good to say on the matter.
Yeah, CenturyLink is still an option. Not out here. You must be in the Midwest.
Yeah, for
As long as
some
you're
reason-
not in Nevada, where they accidentally cut the single CenturyLink line through the state and cut off access to all the hospital's internet. Whoops.
So apparently
Happened like 6
Rogers
months ago.
Bell has their own security system for some reason. They're just going on the bandwagon that Verizon and probably AT&T is doing. Like they have their own security system. I don't know why we need this.
Yeah,
All about cha-ching in a cash register, bro. That's all it's about.
I find it amazing that I can't go into the local Comcast store and actually like take my money, and they can't figure out how to take my money.
Next time, take cash.
I might do that. I'm going to come in, I'm going to pay you cash, and I want a receipt, and I'm not using your little automated machine back
See
there.
if they still take cash.
Yeah. What's wrong
I'm
with
sorry,
paying-
Mr. Forensics. We don't have a way of verifying that cash is real.
What's wrong with paying with a checking account or a card? Well, writing them a check is the best way to go, in my opinion. Why not a card? Because I don't want them having access to my card or my checking account numbers. Now, in reality, when you write them a check, which is hilarious because according to the law in the United States, to do an ACH debit, which is what they're doing, you have to agree to it. And when I write them a check and hand them a check, I'm not automatically agreeing to it. So I could actually take that to the bank and tell them that, no, they don't have authorization to be doing ACH. You make them process this. I could probably do that. But why not do that? Because I don't use those things for things I don't need to. I would rather write somebody a check when it's talking about a basic utility. That's my thought. So. All right, guys, give us your final thoughts here.
I guess the only thing I can say is isolate all of your devices and make sure you're not logged in and everything all in one account. Just use a lot of ad blocking software and just NoScript. That's a really good one that I use just to block mostly all JavaScript. And just make sure that you delete all third-party cookies when you exit your browser.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be a little bit inconvenient, but another solution is that just have different web browsers for different things, right?
Yeah. Or
Different
on
computers,
Peppermint using ICE applications for different things. So it's just a very nice thing. All right. Let's see. Tech, what's your final thoughts?
uBlock Origin and NoScript, as a world said, is my favorites. I am really interested in looking at Sec Browser that somebody posted about in chat, and I put it in the Discord live chat. So I'm interested in giving that a look.
Cool.
But it's going to come down to one day. I mean, and we're already seeing it. Obviously, is what we're talking about here now. But the browsers are going to be less relevant. And I think maybe we should have touched on this, like using apps on your phone. It kind of creates this isolated browser that the app controls. So if you have any options for not using an app on your phone and instead using a browser, especially if you're on an Android device or Lineage OS and you can use a Tor style browser, then do that.
Yeah, don't use apps unless you have to. I mean, almost every app is just a containerized web browser that is doing more data collection than the web browser itself would do.
Yeah, I barely use any apps on my phone.
I have almost none. Quint, you're up. Final thoughts.
Just make sure to clear your cookies regularly and use plenty of extensions and host file block lists to prevent all these cookies from getting in your browser.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I would say.
Yeah, and run to get all those cookies out of your system too, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dan, final thoughts?
Well, the same as what the other guys had to say goes for me. I also use uBlock Origin. It seems to work pretty good for most things. Like our other guest said, I don't use the same browser for everything. I have 3 browsers. I have Vivaldi that works with Hangouts, and I solely use that for that because it requires a Google login. I use WaterFox for all the main browsing and YouTube watching, and I solely use Firefox for my video streaming because it has the Widevine DRM decryption thing built in it that works.
Yeah.
So that works with Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. And that's all I use WaterFox for.
I think I'm up to 5 or 6 web browsers on my Arch computer. I'm losing track.
And I got Chromium, and I've never opened it. It just happened to come with Debian.
Yeah. I have Chromium logged into my writing channel. WaterFox is logged into the Linux channel. I have Firefox is used for general browsing. I have Vivaldi for just some random stuff. I think that I have Epiphany, which I think is the worst web browser of all time. I have Epiphany logged into...
Poor person. You can go hang out on Windows 98 like World of Tech over
there.
Linux.
Things like that. So I think I have Dissenter browser on there as well, which I don't use it. I just did it for a test. I should pull that up some more, but that's...
I guarantee you with this thing with Google... they're getting rid of these evil cookies. I tell you, they're going to replace them with something like donuts.
Yeah.
They're just not telling us what it is, but they got something else cooking, and they're throwing the cookies out there to give us a security blanket type feeling.
Yeah.
Pretty much what I use for browsers is I use Firefox for pretty much everything, and then I have Chromium for that stuff that won't work in Firefox or like Hangouts. Like I'm in Chromium right now for Hangouts, and my server I actually have to use the management console. I have a Windows 7 VM that has no access to the internet, so I can use Internet Explorer to use the ActiveX web console for my server, so I can remote manage it.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you some questions about Chromium and Hangouts later on, Quinn, but that's off stream.
Yeah. All right. I got 1 hour from now. I will be on my other stream. We're talking about atheism in Gen Z. Generation Z has this high amount of atheism. We're going to be talking about that over there on the Christian channel. Let's see. There's a few more comments I want to catch up on, and then we will jump off here.
When does Gen Z start?
Is that 90? Well, depending on where you look at, 97. Well, I don't know. And it's anywhere between 97 and 2002, depending on who you ask. But I think 97, 98 is probably the best
I'm getting
That's
kind of little
Yeah.
thrown under the bus with all these labels they got for different generations. I mean,
Yeah.
it's coming out.
Yeah.
Can I
Gen
say it?
2
Okay,
is-
boomer.
It might
Oh,
be the
man.
only time you're allowed to say that.
I
Yeah.
think they use it for political language only.
Yeah.
That's what
There's
I think.
actually, I think it's in my silly news this week. You guys get a little preview of the silly news. There's a politician that right now is looking at potentially legislating the use of OK Boomer. I kid you not.
Oh,
Stay
All I
tuned
gotta
for the
say to
news
that
tomorrow at 9, man. Tomorrow at 9.
All I gotta say to that is, okay, boomer.
That's exactly, and that might very well be the title of that section. Oh
I'm not sure
boy!
if I like
Oh boy!
that.
How do I become? Is it Parrot? Patreon? What? Like patron? If you want to be a patron, patreon.com/Tom M TOMM, or I'm on thinklifemedia.com. Do I still recommend using separate computers or drive? Yes, I still use separate computers and things for everything.
Well-
Let's see. I use FireTor and Firefox. Google always has something in the oven. That's right. I'm supposed to be leaving. Hey, pretty soon. Yeah, we'll jump off. It's 1970 to 1990. No, you're thinking. I think you're thinking Gen X. I'm talking about Gen Z. All right. So yeah, we'll be on the Christian channel in about an hour. So thanks for hanging out, everybody, and we will catch you guys later.
Yep. Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.